For centuries, dreams have been one of the deepest experienced. They were often misunderstood, seen as nothing more than randomless brain act. But what if that idea is fun? What if dreams are actually far more vital than they're how your mind balance? Much like how sleep revitalizes.
It absolutely is. And that's precisely the mission for this deep dive today. We're moving beyond just, the narrow focus on measurable brain activity. We want to get into the profound psychological meaning, the vivid emotional resonance, and the rich symbolic nature. So what does this all mean for you listening? Well, we'll journey from the surprising benefits your dreams offer, something you might not expect. Then we'll tackle the complexities of actually recalling them, which is harder than it sounds. And then we'll explore some groundbreaking theories from giants like Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud on what dreams truly mean and how they're actually constructed by your mind. Get ready for some serious aha moments.
Okay, let's start with that core idea then, that dreaming isn't just random. It's an essential, vital function for your mind's growth. It's not just a byproduct, it's a powerhouse of activity. And one of the most incredible benefits discovered is how dreams can profoundly improve your problem solving. Seriously, think about it. When you dream, part of your brain responsible for strict logic, your prefrontal cortex, it actually breaks. This lets your memories, emotions, ideas blend, mix together in new ways. And that can truly out-of-the-box solution. The classic example, maybe you've heard it, is the German chemist Friedrich. He struggled for years, stuck, trying to figure out the structure of benzene. Couldn't. Then one night he dreamed snake devouring its own tail, and in that symbolic vision, bang, he found circular structure of benzene's molecule. It revolutionized. Imagine struggling for years and your brain just handles while you're wise.
It's astounding, isn't it? And that links directly to another key benefit, creativity. Dreams can really supercharge your creativity. They're like these mental playgrounds where the impossible becomes possible. They allow new ideas and possibilities to connect in ways your conscious, logical mind often just can't or won't. And this leaves you more inspired, more imaginative during your waking hour. And this isn't just, a nice idea. There's research. A Harvard-MIT team led by Adam Horowitz and Caitlin Asani actually demonstrated. They had participants draw a tree, then split them into groups. The ones who slept and were specifically prompted signaled dream about tree. They scored significantly higher on creative tasks about trees after, higher than the group who just stayed awake. So the dreaming itself made a difference.
Wow. So it's not just about huge scientific breakthroughs or inspiration then. Dreams also have this incredible capacity to heal your heart and mind on a more personal. They're this unique, safe space for processing emotions.
Almost like a nightly therapy session, right?
Exactly. A therapy session you don't... Right. They let you revisit difficult emotions from your day, but maybe in a new symbolic way. You can step back, break them down, reshape them into something less overwhelming. And you often wake up with a brighter perspective, even after a really tough day. It's like a mindset.
A reset. And what's also fascinating is how dreams empower your learning. They're not passive. While you dream, your brain is actively organizing and strengthening the information you gathered during the day. It does this by consolidating fragments, bits of experiences, emotions, knowledge into a more cohesive narrative.
Oh, so that explains why sometimes you dream about things you were studying or practicing.
Precisely. You see this vividly in athletes dreaming of perfecting a difficult move, getting the muscle memory right in their sleep. Or students may be finding themselves repeating lessons or concepts in their dream. So for anyone listening who's trying to learn something new, remember that rest, that sleep isn't just downtime. It's crucial for actually cementing what you've learned. Your brain's working hard while you sleep.
Okay, and building on that idea of the subconscious mind's incredible intelligence, there's this truly fascinating concept, almost controversial. The idea that dreaming can, in a way, anticipate the future.
Right, and we need to be careful here.
Exactly. We're not talking crystal balls or, supernatural fortune telling. Not at all. Instead, it speaks to the mind's extraordinary ability to detect subtle patterns and clues from daily life, things we might miss consciously.
Picking up on things unconscious.
Yeah. The most famous example, maybe the most chilling, is President Abraham Lincoln's dream shortly before his assassination. He reportedly dreamt of walking through the White House, finding a funeral, asking who died, and a soldier in the dream apparently said, the president. Lincoln shared this just days before he was killed.
Wow.
It strongly suggests his subconscious mind was already piecing together the political tensions, the threats, things he likely sensed but hadn't fully acknowledged consciously.
That's a powerful example of that perspective function we might touch on later. The mind noticing underlying currents. So all these benefits, problem solving, creativity, healing, learning, even this pattern what does it ultimately tell us? I think at its core, dreaming shows you who you are. It's like a direct mirror for your soul, reflecting your deepest thoughts, your fears, your desires, the images, stories in your dream. They originate from the very essence of who you are and how you connect with the world. So exploring them offers incredible clarity, real self-awareness about your core self.
Okay, so we've established just how vital dreams seem to be for our well-being, our growth. They're doing all this amazing work.
Yeah.
But, and this is the big but for many of, if they're such powerhouse, why is it so incredibly hard to actually remember them? That's the frustrating challenge, right? Recalling a dream isn't like replaying a video. It's more like trying to grasp.
You've hit on a really crucial point there. It's notoriously difficult. Psychologists like Leon Maury pointed this out way back. He said something like, "It is rare that upon waking, we can tell our dream as we dreamed it." He even suggested that accounts written down immediately upon waking should only be given, quote, limited confidence.
Limited confidence,
Sure.
even right after waking up.
Yeah, which leads to what another psychologist, Edgar, believed, that when we try to recount dreams, especially forgotten bits, we're kind of exposed to completing by imagination the incoherent and disjointed fragment. We become, as he put it, an artist without knowing, filling in the gaps.
So we're editing the memory as we recall it.
Essentially. And Paul Tannery added to this, saying, we don't really remember dreams themselves, but rather the reconstruction that we make of them at the moment of our awakening. A reconstruction based on maybe fleeting images and some unconscious logical work trying to make sense of it all.
Okay, this actually brings us to something called the logical coherence theory of dream recall, which basically suggests our waking mind, our conscious logical mind, tries to force order onto the dream's natural, wildness, its incoherence.
Right, because dreams often don't follow logic.
Exactly. They present logical impossibilities all the time. Events happening simultaneously that should be sequential, or happening in London and New York at the same time, in the same place. Our waking mind craves order, so it tries to force these bizarre elements into a neat, linear story.
But here's the really fascinating twist, the counter-perspective, trying to force dreams into that neat, linear, logical format. That might be precisely why their true message often remains so elusive.
How so?
Well, dreams aren't meant to be like emails, clear, concise, point by point. They're more like poetic movements of the unconscious. They carry symbolic weight, emotional texture. They're not designed for purely rational delivery. And trying to make them fit that logical structure can actually block you from their deeper imaginal reality. You miss the poetry.
Okay, so if linear logic isn't the key, maybe even gets in the way, what's a better approach? How should we engage?
Maybe think of interpreting dreams more like you'd interpret a piece of art or a poem.
Interesting. Less analysis, more feeling.
Exactly. Instead of searching for a strict plot or logical sequence, focus on the feelings that how did it make you feel? Uneasy, joyful, confused. Those feelings are often the pathways into the dream's deeper meaning. They're the immediate.
So lean into the creative.
Yeah. Try creative method. Write the dream down not as a report, but maybe as a poem. Paint a picture of a key image. Even act out a scene or a feeling from it.
Act it out, really?
Sure. Engaging your imagination this way helps you re-embody, relive the dream. It connects you back to that primordial, unspoken, unconscious material it came from. Bypasses the logical censor.
Okay, that makes shifting perspective. All right, let's dive even deeper now. Let's talk about the pioneers who really started unlocking the unconscious through dreams. Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. They had distinct approaches, powerful ones, but maybe complementary too.
Definitely distinct, but both incredibly influential. Freud really laid the foundation. For him, dreams were essentially disguised fulfillments of repressed wishes, windows into our hidden mental function. He made the key distinction between manifest content, the literal storyline you remember, the surface plot.
Right, what actually seemed to happen.
Exactly. And the latent content, the hidden psychological meaning beneath it all, the real message disguised. So, for example, imagine a man who recently lost his mother. He dreams she's abandoning it. A Freudian lens might look at that manifest content being abandoned and suggest the latent meaning is about his unconscious difficulty processing the finality of her death, a deeper dynamic of separation he's wrestling.
Okay, that's Freud's take, repressed wishes, manifest and latent content. How did Jung build on that? Because for him, dreams were much more than just repressed wishes, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jung gave us richer, arguably more complex interpretations. He didn't discard Freud entirely, but he expanded vastly. For Jung, dreams are vital messengers. They're a direct channel to the unconscious. And crucially, he saw the unconscious not just as a bin for repressed stuff, but as a living, active, creative force.
Living force, okay.
Yeah. And he divided it into two layers. First, the personal unconscious. That's unique to each of it. Holds our forgotten memories, suppressed emotions, things specific to our life. But deeper still, he proposed the collective unconscious. This is huge. It's a vast inherited reservoir of shared human experience, passed down through generations.
Inherited, like psychic DNA.
In a way, yes. And it contains universal archetypes. These are fundamental inherited patterns of thought, imagery, and instinct. Things like the hero, the wise old man, the great mother, the shadow. These appear in myths and stories across all cultures because they're part of this shared human blueprint. They're like universal character roles within our psyche.
Wow, okay, collective unconscious archetype. So given that framework, what did Jung see as the key functions of dreams for us? Why do we have them?
Jung detailed several key functions. One big one is the compensatory function. Dreams work to counterbalance the ego's conscious view, especially if it's become too one-sided or distorted. They try to restore psychic balance, equilibrium.
So, like, if I'm being way too hard on myself.
Exactly. If you're excessively self-critical consciously, you might dream of supportive, encouraging figures. It's the psyche saying, hey, look at this other perspective. Or if someone avoids confrontation at all costs in waking life, they might have dreams filled with intense argument. The dream is bringing up the energy they're suppressing.
Bringing balance. Okay, yeah. What else?
Then there's the perspective function. This is interesting. Dreams can anticipate and sort of develop future possibilities.
Like predicting the future. Back to Link.
Not quite fortune-telling in a literal sense. It's more like a symbolic commentary on your life's trajectory. The unconscious detects patterns and potentials, subtle shifts, before your conscious mind does. The dream might be like a preliminary sketch or exercise for something you'll achieve or face later. Your dream self mapping out potential paths.
Got it. Less prediction, more preparation or pattern.
Exactly. And finally, there's the reactive function. Sometimes dreams are quite straightforward. They simply reproduce distressing or traumatic experiences. You see this often in soldiers returning from war, reliving events in nightmares.
That seems awful, but it serves a purpose.
Jung believed so. It functions as a psychological release valve. It allows the psyche to process overwhelming emotional intensity bit by bit, contributing to eventual healing, even though it's painful.
Okay. Compensatory, perspective, reactive. Those are powerful roles. Now, you mentioned archetypes, and one that often comes up and can be quite confronting is the shadow. Jung said it's often the first figure we meet. Tell us about the shadow.
The shadow is fascinating and, yes, often challenging. Jung saw it as representing all the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable, inferior, maybe even evil. It's everything we try to hide, not just from others, but crucially from ourselves, too.
Why do we have this shadow?
It's a necessary consequence of becoming socialized, really. To fit into family, society, culture, we inevitably repress parts of our natural selves. Maybe aggression, certain desires, vulnerabilities, even talents that weren't approved of. They get pushed into the shadow.
And how does it show up? Besides maybe dark figures and...
One of the most common ways is through projection. That's when we unconsciously see our own unacknowledged qualities in other people.
Like when someone really irritates you for being, say, arrogant.
Exactly. That intense irritation might be a sign you're projecting your own unacknowledged arrogance or perhaps insecurity onto them. We see our shadow reflected in others.
That's uncomfortable to think about.
It can be, but here's the really important part, the secret of the shadow. It's not all bad. It also holds what Jungians call shadow goals.
Shadow goal.
Yes. Hidden within the shadow, often disguised, are potentials for our greatest strengths, our vitality, our creativity, our connection to instinct. Things we disowned that could actually be powerful resources if we reclaim them.
So we need to face the shadow to find them.
That's the idea. And in dreams, common shadow symbols might be a snake, not just evil, but instinctual wisdom, or a labyrinth confusing introspection, getting lost in oneself, or maybe a dark unknown house or room symbolizing unexplored hidden areas of our own psyche.
So our dreams are speaking this rich symbolic language full of archetypes and compensations. How do we actually begin to interpret? What was Jung?
It sounds complex. It's more of a process than a rigid formula. Jung emphasized patience and staying with the image. But the first absolutely crucial step is remember and record. Write the dream down immediately upon waking, as accurately as possible. Every detail matters, the mood, the colors, the weird bits. Don't edit yet.
Get it down raw.
Exactly. Then you gather associations and amplification. Association is about what the dream image means to you personally. What memories or feelings does it spark? Amplification is broader. It means expanding the meaning by exploring its cultural, mythological, symbolic connect. What does this symbol mean generally in human experience?
So not just reducing it to one thing?
Definitely not. Don't talk about circumambulation, walking around the image, looking at it from all sides rather than pinning it down. If there's a sword in your dream, don't just say conflict. Ask, what kind of sword? How did it feel? What do swords mean to me? What do they mean in myths? You explore its richness.
Okay, record, then associate and amplify. What next?
Then you consider the dream ego. That's your sense of I within the dream. Were you active, making choice? Or were you passive, just observing, being swept along? This tells you a lot about your conscious relationship to the unconscious material surface. Is it asking for your engagement?
Right, your role in the drama. Okay, and Jung even laid out a kind of 4-stage process for analysis, didn't he? As a way to work through this.
He did. It's a helpful framework for engaging with the unconscious material revealed by the dream. The first stage is confession.
Confession, like admitting.
Sort of. It's about openly and honestly acknowledging the dream content, just stating what happened, even the embarrassing or strange parts, without judging it into the light of conscience.
Just laying it out. Stage 2.
Stage 2 is elucidation. This is where the interpretation really happens. You explore the personal meaning of the symbols and themes you've identified. You ask, what could this symbol mean about me, about my current situation, my inner state? Dreams often dramatize feelings or thoughts in surprising ways we couldn't consciously articulate.
Can you give an example?
Jung had a great clinical example. A Dutch woman dreamt that Queen Wilhelmina, Queen Vina, was burned at the stake. A very dramatic image. Through elucidation, it became clear this symbolized the necessary destruction of her own overly rigid, conventional, queenly persona, which was hiding a much more passionate, vibrant inner temperament that needed to come out. The dream showed her what needed to die.
Wow. So symbols like burning, or you mentioned vehicles crossing rivers going into cellars, they often signify these kinds of transitions.
Yes, they often represent transitions, descents into the unconscious, shifts in perspective. That's typical for this elucidation stage.
Okay, confession, elucidation. What's stage 3?
Stage 3 is education. Here, you ponder the deeper meaning of what you've elucidated. You form hypotheses about how the dream's message relates to your waking life patterns and choices. This is also where understanding concepts like the anima and animus becomes important. These are the unconscious feminine aspects in men and masculine aspects in women. Dreams educate us about integrating these inner opposite qualities.
Another example maybe sounds quite...
A really profound one from Jung involved a 29-year-old female philosophy professor. She had a strong father complex, often drawn to older, intellectual men. She dreamt she was bicycling down a steep slope into a dark cave. Inside, an old man was killed by a younger man. Then her mother appeared and said, "Never forget that you owe it to your brother to be here."
Whoa. Okay, what did that mean?
Jung helped her see it symbolized the necessary killing off of her limiting father complex, the old man, by a more youthful, active principle, the young man. The mother's words pointed towards embracing her own feminine, maternal, life-giving path, connected to her brother, perhaps representing that animus figure now in service to her feminine self. It educated her about a fundamental shift needed in her life, and apparently it led to major changes for her.
That's incredible. A whole life direction revealed. So, education.
Stage 4, transformation. This is the goal. Applying what you've learned from the dream. It's about consciously adopting new perspectives, changing unhelpful patterns, addressing unresolved conflicts revealed by the dream's message, where the insights lead to actual growth and evolution in your life.
And do the dreams themselves change?
Jung observed that often, dream symbols might shift towards more integrated whole images. Geometric figures like circles, squares, triangles, or mandalas, symbols of wholeness, or archetypal figures representing harmony and integration might appear, like a swan, a blooming flower, precious jewel. It signifies a new level of psychic harmony, the integration of the self.
Confession, elucidation, education, transformation, a powerful journey. Now let's pull back the curtain a bit. We've talked about what dreams mean, but let's touch on how they're built. What are the underlying mental mechanics shaping them, often without us even realizing? Freud had some key insights.
He did. He identified several dream work mechanisms. The first one is condensation. This is where multiple thoughts, experiences, emotions, memories get fused, amalgamate into a single dream image or concept. It acts like a kind of psychic shorthand. It's very efficient, economizing psychic energy.
So one dream image can pack a lot of meaning.
A huge amount. Think of your mind as a master editor, taking pages and pages of your daily experiences, thoughts, feelings, and compressing them into one potent symbolic. Freud used his own dream of a botanical monograph to illustrate. For him, that single image, the monograph, condensed so many things. His academic ambitions, but also anxieties about some earlier controversial research involving cocaine. His wife's favorite flower, tied to guilt about forgetting to bring her flower. His childhood love of books. His longing for professional recognition, all packed into that.
Wow, layers upon layers in one image. Okay, what's another mech? You mentioned displacement.
Yes. Displacement is crucial. It's an unconscious defense mechanism. The mind substitutes a new aim or object for something that feels dangerous or unacceptable. It shifts the emotional charge, the intensity, from an important element to a less important, seemingly neutral one.
Why do that?
To bypass the conscious mind's vigilance sense. If the dream showed the raw, intense feeling attached to the real target, say, intense anger at your boss, your conscious mind might wake you up or repress the dream entirely. So the dream displaces the anger. Maybe you dream you're mildly annoyed at your pet, or even an inanimate object. The feeling gets expressed, but attached to a safer target.
Sneaky. So it can displace objects, like anger onto a pet. What else?
It can displace attribution, projecting your own unacceptable desires or traits onto someone else in the dream. Or even bodily displacement. Freud talked about shifting psychic energy, like sexual energy, onto other non-sexual objects or activities within the dream. It's all about disguising the original impulse.
Makes disguise is key. And the last
repression. This is fundamental for Freud. It's the defense mechanism where the ego actively pushes unacceptable thoughts, memories, desires, impulses down into the depths of the unconscious, like instinctively closing your eyes to a blinding light. It protects the conscious mind from material it deems threatening or overwhelming.
But just because it's repressed doesn't mean it goes away.
Not at all. That's the crucial point. Repressed material remains active, dynamic, constantly seeking expression. It pushes for release. And Dreams are a primary avenue for that expression, albeit in the disguised forms created by condensation and displacement. So there's this constant interplay, this tension between the primary process, the unconscious, raw, impulsive drive for immediate gratification, operating on the pleasure principle, and the secondary process, the conscious, rational mind, operating on the reality principle, mediating with the external world. This dynamic governs what gets repressed and how it eventually tries to surface, often through our dreams.
Okay, condensation, displacement, repression, the hidden architects of our dream world. So let's bring this all together then. After diving this deep, it seems clear. Your dreams are absolutely not just random brain stuff. Far from it. They are a powerful, vital, and transformative part of your mind. They're constantly communicating, sending profound insight, helping you heal, learn, and grow.
That's exactly right. And the key thing to remember is that the full restorative and transformative potential of dreams, it's not fully realized when they just passively operate in the background while you sleep. It's unlocked when you consciously engage with them after interpretation, reflection, working with the material. That's the essential bridge.
The bridge to bring the dream's potential into your waking life.
Precise. Without that conscious engagement, the process remains incomplete. Those profound messages, those opportunities for growth can stay hidden, locked away in the unconscious.
So, perhaps the final thought to leave what new path, what hidden strength or understandings about yourself, your life, if you were to start symbolic, often surprise